Where go? Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 7, 2017, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building.
We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, if we could just remain standing for our troops and their families, and in particular, Bob Pringle, who became a policeman in Belmar in 1948 and was a member of the Goodwill Fire Department for 68 years. He died recently. Okay, thank you. Okay. We were going to have a workshop discussion on the Parks Commission, but that was going to be Councilperson Levis's concern. So we're going to hold that off to the next meeting because he's very much involved with the Parks Commission. Does anybody else have anything in particular for a workshop discussion?
Yeah, I just have one thing I want to bring up. I worked with Mike Campbell and Frank Sinelli to straighten out that problem we had down at Surf and 19th with the water. And DPW, Mike Campbell and DPW guys did a great job of taking care of it. Frank Sinelli got in and dealt with the homeowner what the problem was. So that problem's pretty much taken care of. But the thing that I wanted to bring up is we probably should really look at an ordinance to be put in place for any kind of new construction or major construction to have that piped into the sewer system that the homeowners would have to do that. Mike said that he was reached out to Wall Township. They have a copy of an ordinance, Mike?
Bob Pop did. He gave it to me yesterday, and it's the storm drain. I don't want to put it on the record that it's sewer because that's illegal.
Oh, yes.
But it is allowed in the storm drains, and again, I do think it's a good idea. I think there's a lot of things that can be done. I've discussed it with Colin Connolly, and we are looking to, hopefully move something forward. So again, I think it's a great idea that you have, and we should be, doing something to get the water off the streets.
Yeah, they probably have a lot of other properties in town that need that done.
There's a tremendous amount of properties in town, and it's not just affecting them, it affects their neighbors. As the one on Surf Avenue did, it affected a whole block of houses. But now that we had pictures of it yesterday, completely dry, it was great. So it was well worth it over there, and hopefully we can do it throughout the things. But again, Frank came up, when he was discussing with you, the idea of doing an ordinance or something, and I agree with code, and something should actually be done, so.
Yeah. So maybe we could take a look at that.
I'm surprised we don't have one already, to be honest with you. I think we should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So maybe between the ordinance that Walt has, and we can talk to Greg, put something together for us.
Mike, all throughout town, would these problem properties be able to go into the storm drain? I mean, were some of them in a position where there is no way for them to do it?
Actually, there's a number of houses in town that have a notched curb. The notched curb means that there's already a system in place, and it's on the property before the curb where you can tie your sump pump into it. If that's not the case, and people don't even look for that, but if that's not the case, then if there is a storm drain in the road, we would like anybody to be able to pour it into there and get the water off the street. If there's not, and you're doing new construction, the worst you would have to do is take it down to the block, because there's going to be a storm drain on one side of the street or the other. Most have it, but some don't, so you'd have to take it down a block and then turn it. Again, but you're only talking about PVC pipe tying into the storm, and it can be done. And for the people that are concerned about the water getting dumped right into the storm drain, reality is if it's going in the street, it's going right in the storm drain anyway. So why not get it off the street? Why have it sit? A lot of people worry about the green water, the bugs, things like that. And that's what Mr. Walsper was discussing with Frank, and that's the kind of stuff we want to get rid of. I'll bet you right now in town there's well over 40 or 50 sitting water places right now that just has to dry up. And if we can help with that, the storm, we will. We just did one on 15th Avenue today in the 200 block. So again, it was another problem that we worked with the homeowner, they were willing to help, and that one's resolved now also, so.
Great. Super. Anything else? What I'd just like to bring up is, we mentioned it in the springtime. 10th Avenue, we got the two circles. We want to, I'd like to go back and address what we want to do there. We made them B Street and D Street four-way stops. Circles are still there. I'm just going to throw this out to you, how you feel. What I would like to do is, I don't know if we can take the circles out. Maybe we should just improve the circles, put some signage there and some plants, and keep it a four-way stop. It, originally, talking to Chief Lynch, he advised me that years ago they were put in because there were some serious car accidents on 10th Avenue. And since that time, there haven't been any serious car accidents. But due to the circles. But, you know, I think there's a way to improve those two circles. Some people want circles, some people want them out. Some people want a four-way stop. They are a four-way stop, so.
I thought we talked about removing them.
We did.
We did,
And I think,
tabled.
yeah, it was tabled at that time, and the mayor's asked that we research some options, so my hope is to present that to you hopefully at your next meeting, of what the cost would be to remove them, what the cost and process would be to kind of clean them up, maybe better maintain them, better sign them, so that you're fully informed, and you can have that previously tabled conversation again now, if you so wish.
I tend to lean towards take them out.
Take them out entirely.
Yeah, I think the circles as a traffic calming measure are redundant now that there's four-way stops. And the fact that they're there and the traffic lane doesn't go straight across, I think that actually creates a little more confusion. I mean, they don't have to come out, but I just don't see the point of keeping them because, like I said, I think they're redundant.
Well, yeah, as I said, there's two schools. I know we put in the stop signs. I've heard complaints that people are running the stop signs. I don't know if you can really run the circles. The circles really do slow down the traffic on 10th Avenue, but it's open for discussion. Mark?
I'd like to take a look at some of the police statistics to see if there's been accidents there caused by the circles. But and maybe we can take a look at, instead of taking them all the way up and for papers or something over them, just in case people go over them. But, you know, there's some people on 10th Avenue that really do like them, other people, they
Right.
really don't care if they're there or not. And so it's, you know, they're there, you put some brick pavers over it, make them look nice and leave them. But maybe take a look at some of the statistics from the police department to see the speeding on 10th Avenue or the accidents at those two intersections, if they've been caused by the, if they've eliminated accidents or if they've caused more. So before I make a decision, I'd like to take a look at some of that data.
Tom, would you be able to get us some statistics for, I don't know how many years you go back, before the circle, I don't know if you can, before the circles were there to now?
Yeah, I can probably get you 2008 to present.
Mhm.
It's probably what I can dig up.
You haven't heard that that's a common area for accidents? It's
No,
not like it's not like
you
the
know.
circle's causing accidents.
No, I have to say, I live in town and I drive D Street all the time, especially summertime, to get home. And I think it's much better with a four-way stop. There's no confusion on who goes, who doesn't. You know what I mean? And I find that it's worked pretty well. I think all the stop signs have worked well. Not that I drive fast, but I even drive slower now because I know I don't have to play cat and mouse anymore. You know what I mean? So I think it's worked out well.
Mike, since you guys would probably be asked to do some of the work, what kind of work do you think it would entail taking them out?
We did look at it last time and we were ready to proceed. Really, it's just street cutting around the pavers that are in there now, the brick that's in there now, and then filling it with blacktop. So it's really not as big a deal as you would think if you decide to go that route. If you decide to do pavers in the middle, it's a little bit more work, it would stay there, but again, it would also have a different look, maybe an acquired look or something you're looking for. But to take them out, I do not think is a big process at all. 1 or 2 days each circle, and I'm sure we could get them out if that's your desire.
Okay, you know, another thing is, I thought the traffic calming worked well with four-way stops on B Street and D Street. Some people still complain about the speeding. In some towns I drive by, they have like a meter, tells you how fast you're going. If we try to get 1 or 2 of them on maybe C Street, between B Street, because I think some people say once they get past B Street, they speed up to D Street, speed up to Main Street. So getting some type of a digital speed.
Is there enough time to really get to a certain speed if it's just between a block?
Well, they can, but really, you know, for a trained eye, a lot of people think they're going a lot faster than they are, but they're really not. Some are, don't get me wrong, there are some that, you know, are speeding, but most of the time, they're not. It might appear to them that they are, but they're really not.
And are those digital signs effective? I don't know. I
They are very effective.
They are? Okay. I thought years ago someone had mentioned that they're
very effective. It's something that we like uniformly across the borough. They used to be quite pricey. We're repricing them now. Most of the prices are coming down a little bit. So we hope to have some options together.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be a good idea to put a couple of them up.
Just to see how they
in some of
work.
the areas, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we know from placement of the VMX sign, which we do on weekends of high volume in the summer, we might put on 5th Avenue or 10th Avenue, showing your speed. I think it is effective. We've seen it to be effective. I think if we could try it out, maybe in time for next season, see how it goes.
I remember the issue was they were very expensive, so if they're cheaper,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth looking at.
We'll check it out.
Some of those things, when you are going the speed limit, they say thank you, or
Yeah, I saw a very polite one the other day. When I hit under 25, it just said thank you in green.
yeah. So, you know, if we can probably do something like that, I would think C Street. It might help with the traffic. It's never gonna, you're always gonna get somebody that's gonna speed. You're always gonna get somebody that's gonna run through a stop sign or go down the wrong way of a one-way street. Hopefully, it will improve matters so fewer people do it.
What does it say for speeding?
Slow down. We can have it say something else.
Well, I was just wondering, that's all, just being very polite when you're...
Almost slipped out. Okay. So that's about all I have for the workshop discussion. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on to petitions. Is there anybody out in the audience that has a petition? Please step forward. Seeing none, we'll go to approval of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the September 4th, 2018 meeting, and they be posted on the borough's website.
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilman Walsifer?
Yes. Okay, now to reports of council. Councilman Walsifer?
Thank you, Mayor. We had a meeting of the Harbor Commission. One of the main topics there was about the parking. They also talked about paid parking and a couple different ideas that they had down at the marina to try and improve some of the parking. They all agreed that the spaces that were made for the boat owners this year really helped, but they want to try to improve some of the parking issues for next year. So as our meetings go along, they talked about maybe some of the metered spaces around Marina Grill, not the whole marina, but they said that there was a problem with a lot of the employees of Marina Grill taking up a lot of the boat owner spots, and they figured if they put some meters in down there that might help. So I'll keep you informed of further discussions on that.
Interesting, very interesting. Metered parking at the marina. What would a boat I mean, I like the idea because it's like on the boardwalk, it keeps someone from coming down on a Friday night and staying there until Sunday evening. I guess Marina Grill has a lot of employees,
Yeah,
where they stay for 8 hours probably, I would think.
yeah, so they figured they'd put some metered parking in down there, would keep the employees out of the lot, and have more spaces for either the Marina Grill or for the boat owners down there.
I'd hate to see someone coming down on a party boat that goes out for, have to pay for the parking. Were they thinking about not charging them or?
Yeah, not around the head boats. I think more of the discussion was around the Marina Grill parking. But I'm sure that we would have to talk to the people at Chefs International before any decisions are made, and to take a look at it a little bit further. I don't know how you would differentiate who doesn't pay and who pays, and, either you make it all paid or nobody pays. It's a tough call to make down there, but we were in discussions about that.
Yeah.
So.
Plus somebody that pays for a season for a boat slip, then has to find out that they're paying for a parking space, but it does get crowded down there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Colleen, how did that work out? I know at Memorial Day, we had some problems until we let the slip owners park in the trailer lot.
So, with the weather that we had this
Yeah.
season,
Right.
it had the unfortunate effect of not having as an exacerbated problem with the parking. But on the high volume weekends, what we found was that the spots reserved for the slip holders was utilized, it went well. We did a tighter management of the trailer lot as that transitioned from night to day or day to night.
Yeah, so,
We've looked at a few options on paid parking down there, and if that's something that the council wants to pursue before next season, we can certainly cost a few things out for you so that you have some options to consider. And certainly there's arguments on both sides about how effective it would be. So in general, and I will say unfortunately, it was not quite the parking nightmare that we thought it might be, because with the weather, people didn't turn out quite as in large numbers.
But the trailer lot wasn't available for employees or restaurant goers. Is that correct? It's just for slip owners?
We did on high volume nights, we had reserved area for slip holders, and on some nights, there could be restaurant customers or whatnot using that lot as well, but we have to tightly manage it with special officers.
Thank you, Mark.
And the only other thing I have is I just want to congratulate Sean Pringle. He was an officer for 25 years in the Borough of Belmar, and just retired. He retired as sergeant, and I just want to wish him the best. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have anything, except I do want to say that I want to congratulate DPW and the Belmar Police Department for the great job at the San Gennaro Festival this weekend. Things went up. Really, I get up early on Saturdays, and I was down along Main Street, and everything was getting set up nice and early, and people seemed like they were having a great time. And anytime I happened to catch a glimpse of the festival, it was a great crowd, and they all looked very comfortable. And then as soon as the festival was over, everything was cleaned up. You would never know it was even there. And that's hats off to the DPW. Great job. That's it for me. Oh, and I gave Mark Levis a chance to win that contest.
The cannolis?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the car wash. Thank you for reminding me. I'm so bad at self-promotion. Yes, the Belmar Elementary School Eagle Band is having their first car wash of the season to raise funds for their trip in the spring. That's this Saturday, weather permitting, 9 to noon on the 12th Avenue side of the school. If your car is dirty, bring it on over. It might not be that clean when you're done, but they'll be really cute while they do it. The kids are great. And it's all for a good cause. And that's in conjunction with the townwide yard sale this weekend too as well. Thank you, that's it for me, thank you.
Belmar Arts Center, they have 2 shows going on right now through October the 12th. One is called Art Inside the Box, and it is absolutely the most interesting art show I've ever seen. Basically, whatever art they've created had to go into some type of box. So please check it out. And on the other side of the Art Center is the 2018 Students of International Center of Photography. And it's a big display of a lot of photographs. And again, the show's really great. You have both of them going on simultaneously. Wanted to mention the new open gym on Wednesdays from 3:15 to 4:30, I believe. But it's Wednesdays after school in the gym here, open gym for children in 3rd through 5th grade, which Barry Trogo, our recreation director, is putting on, and I think that's a wonderful, wonderful idea, kind of like a mini youth club for kids during the week. Shop local, I know we're going into the quiet season, but not just the restaurants and kind of Rite Aid and Dollar General, but please visit all the smaller shops as well. Dry cleaners, hair salons, boutiques, really try to keep our businesses going in town. And that is it.
Thank you.
And thank you, DPW. San Gennaro was excellent. I've never seen so many people. It was a really great turnout. So thank you very much. And thank you to Mary Brabazon and the Tourism Commission.
That's right.
Yep.
All right, I'd like to thank the DPW, especially for their storm preparation. Well, I guess thank you for keeping the storm away. That was really nice of you. Especially a shout out to Joe Daniels and Sal Cercelli. They're the two drivers of the bulldozers building the berms. Pretty daring, back in that, I wouldn't want to do that, but they did a great job, way to get the berm up, the beach secured in the days before the storm was scheduled to hit. So you had the marina to do, the town to do, the beach to do, great job. I just want to mention that Reverend Grace Scarl from the Calvary Baptist Church is going to, her last Sunday in Belmar is going to be Sunday, September 30th. Her husband is being assigned to a position down in Florida, and so she will be leaving. She's been here for many years. She was a chaplain for the fire department for many, many years. So, shout out to Reverend Grace Scarl. I wonder if we can get a proclamation for her and send it out to her or something like that. Also, notice that Robin Kirk, after 33 years, has handed in her retirement as of December 1st of this year. So she is our CFO. So that position, we will put out, we will post it, take applications. If you were to ask me to select a basketball coach or select an all-star team, I can do that very well. I really don't know the qualifications of a CFO or whose resumes are the best. So what I would like to do is hire, if you're okay, hire a company consulting firm that would look over these resumes, interview some of these people, and then recommend to me a couple people for us to interview to make this selection. I think that's the best way to do it. As I said, one of my strengths is knowing what I don't know, and I don't know how to pick a CFO just by reading their application. There might be some things in there that might come to light to someone that does this for as a business decision. So that's what we'll be doing. CFO is an extremely important position for a town. Special events, we mentioned San Gennaro, but there was a glitch on San Gennaro and a walkathon for suicide awareness. Turns out that Lake Como approved a walkathon which closed off Ocean Avenue. At the same time, San Gennaro was closed off on Main Street. So anyone trying to get, started south on Ocean Avenue to get out of town was redirected up to Main Street and actually had to go out to Highway 71 to get out of town. Now, I know as a town, we're two independent towns. So we can, as a council, tell Lake Como what events
to have, or when to have them, where to have them, and they can't tell us. But there's got to be some type of coordination, so something like that doesn't happen again. And I'm sure it probably puts a lot of our police were down there and at the Main Street, so a little bit of coordination with the special events. Can you reach out to, what's her name from?
With Louise, I already have, and you're absolutely right, we're two towns, two councils, however, we do provide police services to Lake Como through contracted police services. And so, yes, the captain's very aware, there's conversations happening to ensure that specific recommendations about coordination and specific events are made and heard by their council. So we are talking, and certainly through our police department, sharing our recommendations for next year.
But wouldn't they have to notify us when they're Ocean Avenue is in Belmont?
Yeah.
So wouldn't they have to notify us when they're
Yes.
doing that for us to close off Ocean Avenue for them?
And I think they did, and it was just one of those things that like kind of slipped through the cracks. We didn't pick up on it, Obviously, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't think it'll happen again.
Based on our conversations, Lake Como is very agreeable to make some changes.
Yeah, they have a number of 5K runs.
Yes.
And do they use Belmar or do they stay in Lake Como? Tom, you would know that, wouldn't you?
There's, a lot of history on it, and over the past several years, we've made attempts to have them keep the race entirely within Lake Como. Certainly now that we're providing police services, it's now us coordinating it on that end. So yes, there are a lot of runs that happen out of there. And I think that's, again, something that their mayor and council is going to be considering through recommendations made from the captain, from the chief, in advance of next year.
Now, is there any way for us to say, they have a number of runs, that's too many, it's too much on our police? I mean, I'm sure it's a strain, so many weekends.
Well, any good mayor and council, you're going to listen to your police force. And whether that's a contracted police force or a homegrown police force, you should be listening to those recommendations. So I have every faith that mayor and council in Lake Como is going to listen and absorb and hear the recommendations of the police force.
Tom, how is it going with their walkathons? Is it much of a...
Well, most of those races out of Bar A, they do go down 16th Avenue to B. So yes, they are in Belmar. I think the issue we had was Sunday was a late start. That's what really screwed everything up in the morning through the organizer of the event. So I think Lake Como Mayor and Council are going to address that. And I think they're going to address future races for next year, whether they have less or, but I think they're going to look at them more carefully now to see which ones they're going to approve and which ones they're not going to have come back. So
When they're held, it usually is just a couple-hour time frame.
And they're early too.
And
yeah,
early.
they've got a late start. It didn't start till 10:30,
Yeah.
which is
That's
not
late.
was on the paperwork that was submitted. So so it was an issue with the late start. That's why we had Main Street closed down. As we had it shut down, ready to go at a certain time, and they weren't ready yet. So it was just an issue with the organizers. So probably that's going to be addressed.
I
with
feel like when
the
they
so.
end, they get it back to normal pretty quickly, I mean, from what I've seen.
Right, the runs are usually pretty good. I think the walks are an issue because of the time it takes to get the event through the streets and back. So it's just something else to look at.
So actually, the walks are more difficult than the runs because of the time constraints.
Correct. The amount of time that the road is shut down. Of course, as the walkers get through certain areas, we open them back up right away. And but the walks do take, it's a little more time consuming.
That's all for me. All right. Public session on the resolutions, only on the agenda. We will continue to have a public session at the end of this meeting. Following the public session, we are going into executive session. So the meeting is not officially over till we come back. From any of the, anything on the consent agenda, please step forward. Seeing none, I make a motion to close the public portion of the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next, please note that all matters listed in the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the Borough Council, and they will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. Tom, did you have a question about separating resolutions from the consent agenda? No? Okay. All right, I make a motion to pass a resolution authorizing the payment of bills. Do I have a second?
Or is there one motion for all of them?
Oh, that's right, I got ahead of myself. I make a motion to pass the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Councilor Madden?
Aye.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilor Walsifer?
Yes. Next to ordinances. Greg, I think you're up on that?
Yes, sir.
Sound like a haircut.
Heard my bag with me. As you recall, last meeting, a resident brought a petition regarding Schneider Avenue and the direction in which it runs currently under the ordinance. I have drafted an ordinance that complies with the resident's petition. Please forgive the right-hand stapling and also giving April the original. I do not have a word copier and I made this after 5 o'clock, so I
That's how they do it. That's how they do it at Notre Dame, right?
That's right. I skipped that class, apparently. I got the instruction manual, it was this big, so I just read it. Anyway, so as you see, there's really just one word change. It's on the second page where it says Schneider Avenue from 17th Avenue to North Boulevard. Instead of southbound, we go northbound in accordance with that petition's request.
Okay, and Kyle, this is just the first reading, so.
This is first reading, there's no notice requirements, you may do its introduction now, and we will have a public hearing as soon as it's noticed, likely in 2 weeks.
So I should call someone up right now to see if they want to discuss this?
No, actually, there's no discussion on it tonight, we're
Okay.
just gonna make a motion to intro and second and vote. And then-
Okay. I'm just going to first reading for ordinance number 2018-20. Ordinance of the Borough of Belmar, amending the revised general ordinance, chapter 19, traffic, to designate the direction of Snyder Avenue under section 24 thereof. Be it ordained by the mayor and council in the Borough of Belmar, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, that chapter 19, traffic of the borough's revised general ordinances is hereby amended as follows. And we turn Snyder Avenue is now going to be northbound. Do I
Do you have a second?
have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Madden?
Aye.
Councilman Nicolay?
Yes.
Mayor McGovern?
Yes.
Councilor Walsifer?
Yes.
Okay. Public session. Anybody want to step forward, come up to the microphone and ask us questions? Yes. Just give your name, your address.
Thank you. Claire Hayner, 221 18th Avenue. Thank you for that ordinance, I do appreciate it.
Good.
One more question. While getting ready for the yard sale, we've gathered a basket of Hallmark and other ornaments. Is there anything in the schools that can use them, that they could be donated versus us putting them out? I'm not looking to make money on them, but if you guys can use them, I'd be happy to donate them.
You know what, well, let me talk to you after the meeting. I can
Okay.
give you the name of somebody you can call over to school
Okay.
and see if they can think of something that can be done with them.
Okay, you can just save so many mom and dad ornaments for over the years. So, cool, thank you.
What are we talking, what ornaments?
Christmas.
Christmas ornaments, we have too many.
Oh, I thought it was the
There's no
people
such
from,
thing.
I thought it was people from Snyder Avenue made Christmas
No,
ornaments
no,
for
no,
this
no.
ordinance.
No, they're all happy.
Yeah, I was saying, when are they doing that, you know?
No.
Did you get Snyder Avenue changed northbound, you made Christmas ornaments?
Yes, that's an idea. Maybe Christmas cookies, how's that?
Okay,
All right.
sounds good.
Thank you.
That's Jen's fault for not making me pay attention. Tom?
Tom Burke, 608 10th Avenue. On the matter of the circles on 10th Avenue, I think when the subject originally came up, we called for the removal of them, and I, for one, was very happy to see that happen and appreciate the four-way stops. I use 10th Avenue quite a bit since I live on it, and those circles are a little bit of a pain in the neck to negotiate, particularly if you're trying to make a left-hand turn and you're on 10th Avenue. Do you go around, you know, 3/4 of the way, or do you just, if nobody's coming, just shoot to the left? Not only that,
You were the guy doing that.
I'm the guy doing that, yes. It doesn't say I can't,
But
but
you
it's
had
a
it on
left-hand
camera.
turn. The trucks have trouble negotiating those circles, particularly the one that I guess is D Street. If you look carefully, you can see truck tire marks on both sides of it because they can't negotiate it, or they don't see it, because it's not, you know, the vegetation is not growing up like it is down at D Street. So, you know, speaking for a lot of the residents on 10th Avenue, we'd like to see them removed.
Thank you. Which reminds me, that stop sign, thanks, Tom. That stop sign on 10th Avenue going east is partially blocked by a branch from the property owner's yard. The tree is in the yard, so it's his tree, but, you know, I think safety-wise, you know, if anyone runs a stop sign, it's because they probably can't see the stop sign. Greg, can we have DPW just go prune that back so we can see the sign, or do we have
Yeah,
to
it
ask?
sounds
them?
like it's within the right of way.
We
I
can-
don't remember the precise area, but I believe it's.
It'll
within
be
the
done by
right of
right.
way.
Okay, good, because I know it's difficult to see that stop sign on that, Mr. Murphy's property.
It'll be done before lunch.
Okay. Anybody else out in the audience? Stuff? I mean,
Where are you gonna put your stuff?
yeah.
Christine Carlino, 15th Avenue. When you're investigating the digital speed signs, would you consider putting one on 15th to help mitigate the speeding cars on our street?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, you would be between D Street and,
D&E.
okay,
The stop signs are in, but people are running them still.
yeah,
So just if you would
Yeah,
consider our needs,
very good.
southern end, we would
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Do you think it's a good idea with these digital?
I think it's a great idea, and I actually brought it up a few years ago at a meeting, so
Okay.
I think it would be great.
We're not talking about those, sometimes you see them on the wheels or something like that. It's like a little box.
Yeah, there's little ones that you can put on
Where would we actually put that? So on a telephone pole or?
Typically, you work with JCP&L, place them on the pole.
And then there's solar powered, right?
Oh, there's solar, okay.
Yeah, that's part of that's part of solar. All the technology's gotten cheaper.
Portable, with portable.
It's great for raising awareness too, so people know what the speed limit is.
Yeah, and probably on those signs, I think some people might run those stop signs, so we probably have to put something on the street that says, stop ahead, or something like that, just let them, forewarn them that, you know, there is a intersection with a stop sign.
That'd be awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to say, the new stop sign that's on my street, even if you don't see it, there is the line that says stop. So we do have that.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Great. You put that there, right?
It's habit. You
Jack
gotta-
does it once a week with Bob.
Okay, seeing nothing, and no one else, I make a motion to close the meeting.
Close the public session.
Close the public session. Oh, the public session, yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now I make a motion for us to go into executive session.
We have a resolution authorizing executive session, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas there is adequate notice to the public of this meeting, and whereas the Borough Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Borough Council as follows: the public shall be excluded from discussion and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is potential litigation with the Main Street Streetscape project. Minutes will be kept of the closed session. It is anticipated at this time that the subject matter will be made public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists, and this resolution shall take effect immediately. Do you have a motion to approve?
Oh, sorry to interrupt. There's also, and forgive me, Madam Clerk, but after you sent the agenda, I got 2 updates on other litigations. So if we could amend the resolution to include the 10th Avenue freeze-out versus Belmar litigation, as well as the,
Petitioners to be Belmar.
yes, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Okay, thank you.
And again, no official action will be taken when we return.